Juice incoming. Very nice music. Very nice music. Nonetheless, this video is gonna seem to be a little bit negative, but I can assure you it's done with good intentions and hopefully for future positive results. Firstly, latest news about GGG, considering Chris Wilson a little bit of joke there. Rage quit PoE 1 or quit PoE 2 because of boredom. Joke closed. Left GGG as a director, if I'm not mistaken, and not only him. Coincides with the post about GGG hiring new personnel, and I personally find it a little bit weird that it happened in a very close span after the early access release of PoE 2 and not before. But I still saw some Reddit posts in a little bit before these news. But nonetheless, I have absolutely personally nothing against anyone at GGG, but I have to say that Chris Wilson obviously, in my opinion, felt and was a very big part of the game. He was the founder, if not the original founder, and not one. I think he started it all. And I, for one, truly hope I will get to hear again, "Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games," when we get a new league. If not in the PoE world, maybe in some other one. Who knows? I'm also gonna that's it. That's it about the news. I'm not gonna get into that because the video is not about that. If you want to see a very good detailed video about that, you can watch Hog or Jorgen. If I'm not mistaken, they both released some info about that. I'm gonna also state that the game is in early access. It is in the worst state that it could possibly be because it's only improving from here onto the future. And what we have here, it is just the skeleton of PoE 2. The measly meat and veins that's on that skeleton is Breach, in my opinion. The other ones, maybe Ritual and Expedition, but not Expedition because the skill points are by chance. There's meat, muscles, veins, blood, skin to be added on the skeleton. With that said, we'll be waiting for the future updates like 0.20, which we'll be getting in 1 month from now approximately. But still, considering these two things, mostly the fact that it's in early access, it still seems kind of marketing. That's what the video is about. And it's not gonna be a very short video, but not a very, very long one. With that said, let's check it. The main question of this video is exactly that. Is marketing ruining games? In this case, Path of Exile 2. It's not just about Path of Exile 2, but in this situation, it is. Is the greed of money dominating the will to do good things? You already know the answer of that. Mostly, yes, and not just in games. But I'm here to share some thoughts on how I personally think marketing is being used in this game. And no, I'm not speaking of ads. By far. I'm speaking of time-wasting tactics. And maybe some marketing decisions to make you want or maybe need to spend money on quality of life features, which I personally don't disagree. I only disagree if you're forced to when you shouldn't be. Some time-wasting tactics, ways of making things last longer than they should, and in the process ruining them by making them more boring, more tedious, and not fun, which is very important in games, escapism, and immersion. about that. I'm gonna state something that is I'm confident 1000% it's 100% and 1,000,000% based and 100% truth. Time wasting breaks immersion and ruins fun, and immersion and fun coincide with each other. So let's see here. Where am I? The question I asked ChatGPT is, can a game company make money just by players being in game doing nothing, either directly or indirectly? It started with yes, and it ended up, in short, even if a player is AFK, their presence alone can be financially valuable to the company in multiple ways. You can pause the video here and read this, and I think it can get into more detail. But with that said, I'm gonna move on. Did you read it? Okay, good. Let's start with the most obvious that most of the players have argued about: movement speed. The movement speed in Path of Exile 2, weirdly enough, base movement speed when you start on the shore is slower than in Path of Exile 1. In Path of Exile 2, I think I'm mistaken there. In Path of Exile 2, base movement speed is slower than in Path of Exile 1 by a teeny tiny margin. But in the long run, it counts. 2. Path of Exile 2 has 10 times larger areas than Path of Exile 1 and any other ARPG for that matter, if it's not an open world MMO or something. And it's two things that are in the opposite directions of good. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's one, and I think the most important thing. Base movement speed should be at least as in PoE 1. Oh, and of course, no movement skills 2. No movement skills. Not comparing the game to just PoE 1, but to any other ARPG in the last 20 years, almost all, if not actually all the ARPGs have some way for the player to move faster than normal around the map. Considering there is an abundance of them to choose from PoE 1, why wouldn't PoE 2 have already at least some movement skills? Some movement skills. And I think it's not any other decision than just marketing. It makes you stay more in game. It takes more time to get from A to B, and until you reach this, it's gonna be a long way. It's gonna be a long way, and pretty much. Wait. Pretty much a lot of investment to move fast, no matter the way. But movement skills, not my attack, not my blink with temporalis, no. Movement skills feel like they're extremely missing in PoE 2. We're moving up to number 3, which I think is as in the same importance level as the first two. Map layouts. As I said, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to be as true as possible, hopefully and knowingly that everything in the game will get improved in the future. But never in my existence have I encountered more blocky, more clunky, more bumpy, more jagged and jittery, and more annoying layouts as in PoE 2. I will not stay and give you all the names of the maps. You already know them probably better than me because I forget names of things fast. But what are these things? I still cannot believe people got paid to use their own time to make things to waste people's time. It is impossible to put all those rocks and every other single object that sometimes you don't even see on the map that blocks you. And PoE 2 has a problem. If I'm not mistaken, some other game, I can't give an example now because I think Last Epoch, if I'm not mistaken, or Grim Dawn, if I'm not mistaken, when you get into something that blocks you, the character should slip around it. Should immediately try to go around it. So I'm here, I try to click there, but it's not movement, right? It should slip around the object. Of course, if you go into a wall, you get stuck. But it should slip around a drawer or something the size of this well. Look, I'm getting stuck. If I'm putting in a straight line, it should slip over it and try to go around it. Most of the maps make you go around half of the map to get from A to B, and of course all the maps have 2 or maximum 3 checkpoints. One at the start, one at the finish, and maybe one in the middle. That's a very bad. It should have like at least 10. At least 10. Rocks, boulders, logs, vases, walls, doors, drawers, tables. Yeah. But nonetheless, there are very few map layouts in the game that are actually enjoyable. And they would be enjoyable even if the bad ones wouldn't exist. Because they are not against free flow, they are not against your own skills, and they are not against the game's own content. Sometimes the breach is extremely hard to do because you can't move because of the blocky things. Sometimes the ritual spawns in a very tight space and so on. The map layouts are very, very bad. Number 4. Number 4, half of it has already been fixed. Right? Map stash tab. In my opinion, we should have had map stash tab, Waystone stash tab, from day 1 early access. And why am I saying that? It is because Waystones, no matter if they change the name from Waystone to map to rock to shoe, will always be a part of the game for the eternity and as long as it exists. You will always have these maps. And considering how many maps you find and how many you need to delete the other ones and so on, they should have had this at the start of the early access. But marketing decision says otherwise. If we don't add it, new players that are not from PoE 1 and already have some stash tabs, normal ones, will be forced to buy new tabs. Let's face it, this is what, 500 maps here, right? Or if I'm not mistaken, something like that. That's a lot of space. And considering people are picking up these to 3 to 1 or even sell them for gold, or even do them for their low characters when they make new characters to experiment, that's a very, I think that was a very big marketing decision to not release it. And let's face it, it's the same interface as in PoE 1, just different names. But as a game company, I don't find it as a bad decision for them to profit for money for the game, so they can keep the game up and pay people so they can have often new patches and new updates and so on. I'm just saying it's a bad decision for gameplay because it makes you micromanage your stash. Oh no, that's very bad. That's very bad. And the other one is again something that we will always have, and it's coming soon to a PoE 2 near you. It's Fragment stash tab. In my opinion, where we should have Jin Barriers and inscribed ultimatums like these ones that are not already done with some mods on them, they are exactly the same item. They should stack. Even here now they should stack, but in a Fragment tab they should stack there. We should have there also runes, omens, soul cores, breaches, and by that matter, where is the expedition locker for these? Where is it? We have relic locker. Why don't we have expedition locker for these? And these, the crisis fragments, right? Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of stash tabs, very, very, very low limit on the gem stash tab. Very low, very low. Again, makes you sometimes feel when the game will have 3 month or 4 months leaks that you might have to buy a new one, but you're not. You're gonna sell gems, but still having that low limit is kind of weird. It's still, in my opinion, in the section of marketing decision. You buy tabs because normal ones evidently are limited, but tabs you buy are not unlimited. 5,000 is the limit. 5,000 is the limit. Then you go to another stash and then you put it here because you don't have anywhere to put them because you have these, and if you put them in the stash tab they don't stack, and so on. And speaking of stash tabs and stacking, why is this stack size maximum 10? Is it to have 2 clicks per 20 divines instead of 1 like in Path of Exile 1? On which PoE 2 is made on the same game engine as PoE 1, but for some weird reason in PoE 2 we have an older version of the game engine and interface where AFK doesn't work. You put a message but it doesn't work. In PoE 1 it works. When you have some these in your stash in PoE 1, you can check how many by pressing Alt. It's not here. You can Control left or Control Alt left click or Control Shift left click on them and send every single one. If you press on an exalt, all the exalts in your stash tab, like you would take from Alva, because you can. If you didn't know, you can take from Alva. If you have you can take a full stash of any of the same currency. But here you have to put them one by one. This is again something very weird, and I still think is to make things last longer in the end. Last longer in the end. Keep players more in game by doing anything, even if it's nothing. And that's boring and annoying. Moving on. Another thing that should not be as they are salvaging and disenchanting. Yeah, being in town and separate and not being one button action in your inventory is the main problem. Makes you go back in town to do it, waste your portal, 2 more loading screens, waste your time for something that should be done in map so we can continue farm faster and not go into town every now and then and break immersion. I'm gonna add here even 3 to 1. Yeah, exactly. 3 to 1 being 1 by 1. In Path of Exile 1 you can sell to a vendor, and if there are rings, you can sell 60 rings at a time. To 3 to 1 then. Again, 3 to 1. You should have a button. You should have a salvage and disenchant should be the same action. A button here, click it, you put it and it does the action for the item. Makes the action happen. And here you will have 3 to 1. If you have same items in the stash in the inventory, you press it here. You should also have a lock so you don't misclick it. And you should also be able to do it in any stash tab you have, meaning in a quad tab. So I fill this up with I don't know what, right? Ones, and it picks randomly. And by the way, where is our sort items? Like in the last epoch, where is our sort items button to do the Lego? Again, more micromanagement, more time wasting. Oh, wait a minute. Non-unique items, that was 5, we're at 6. Non-unique items dropping unidentified. When you're in the map and you see an item you want to pick up, you have to pick it up, you have to ID it and then check it. If it's on the ground, you hover over it and remember the mods and say, let's move on. That would win some time, but considering we have no scour orbs, no alt spamming, no chaos spamming, you have to check maybe every single level 81 plus item, if not 82 plus, off the ground, to be sure to not lose a very good base. Again, very, very tedious and micromanagement-y and very time consuming and time wasting and boring, and sometimes making you want to quit and just do something else, to just go away from that, to not do it. Within this situation, there's something to add. Wisdom scrolls not being a spell again contributes to time wasting tactics. After you get items, you do one of 2 things. You ID them within the map, breaking immersion and wasting time, or put them unID'd in a dump tab, which in the end wastes more time because you have to check even more items. The almighty 7. Atlas biomes, voice is back. Atlas biomes, zones and areas being separated. And I already did a video, which I'm gonna leave a link in the description, about how to fix the Atlas in PoE 2. But I'm gonna say this, every time is the same. You slowly advance on your Atlas, and you hit a wall. You cannot get to a map 2 centimeters on the screen, like from here to here. To get there, you have to get to go through 50 maps around the mountain and delete the bad ones and not do the good ones, and sometimes being forced to do the good ones, which is very bad. Again, something to waste time, making you do T1 maps to do fast, to go to delete the bad ones. And pretty much I've summed it up in the other video. I'm gonna leave a link in the description. Yeah. 8. Monsters that block you and you cannot damage them until they decide they can get damaged. There are a very decent number of mobs that cannot be attacked. Terracotta stone giants. They're just there. When you go close to them, they wake up. And in the process of waking them up, they can block you, meaning they're physically there, but they cannot get damaged. When you get to a decently normal movement speed like this, you get blocked. You cannot damage it. It's extremely annoying. It's extremely annoying to get blocked by something you see there and you cannot damage. Which ones? Beyond demons, which in PoE 2 are corruption. When you kill a pack of mobs, you can't even see the corruption mobs spawning, but they block you. And until they arrive from the ground and so on, you cannot damage them. There's some with some delirium cracks. You open them, you cannot even see again the monsters that stop you from moving, and of course they cannot be damaged. Blocking free flow, wasting time, extremely annoying and against fun. I know. It sounds negative, but I'm trying to point out the bad things of the game. Hopefully they get improved, or maybe similar things don't get added in the future. We are at 9. No ascendancy change. No ascendancy change. Where is it? Why would I be forced to make, at the moment, having 2 ascendancies, another class and do the exact same things and probably do the exact same at last just to try another ascendancy? In early access, where testing should be like free and easy and respecing should be free, of course. It's extremely troll, time wasting, and forcing you to do something 2 times, mostly the same. This one is clearly an obvious tactic to make you stay longer in game. Marketing is not intentionally done to annoy you. I'm not trying to say that. It's not by any chance intentionally. They're not sitting at a table and saying, how can we annoy them? How can we bore them? But making let's halfen the movement speed. Let's do no. No, they're not doing that. They're saying, how can we make better numbers of our players? How can they stay more there so we can get more, and so on and so on. Check the GPT answer earlier. It's very bad. It's very bad. This should never be blocked and forcing you to make a new character. And 10, this is clearly, in my opinion, a marketing decision 101. Not releasing MTXs, which again, I'm gonna say, compared to PoE 1, PoE 2 has good looking base items. This armor is base. Is base MTX, right? That's how it looks by default. The helm is one of my MTXs that I have available. Yeah. This might make some people buy new ones because they see they don't have any, but in my situation is very, very annoying to have 1,000 plus spent and not having them in PoE 2. With that said, those are the 10 things I think are the most marketing wise time wasting in the game that can be improved. And don't forget, if you make a thing last longer, if it's still fun in the process and it's not boring, not time consuming and time wasting, it's still fun. Simple as that. If it's fun in the process, it's still fun. That's a paradox in the words, but if you make it so after I finish a map and one mob is on the exact same corner of the map where there is no checkpoint, I have to go there by foot or by this right now. That's very bad. That's very bad. But nonetheless, let's end the video with some other things that are clearly not by random, clearly manually done, that from some reason makes things last longer for no real reason other than marketing. Mana cost sends you to town to use the well, and you forget to use it. Are you using a well when in PoE 1 it's instant by doing nothing? Experience gain is worse than hitting 100 in D2. Town portal in PoE 1 is instant, in PoE 2 it takes 2 seconds. Can't alt or chaos spam your items, no scour orb nor blessed orb. Save settings in options menu are reversed. Save changes is on the left, revert is on the right. In the other game is exactly reversed. The speed at which breaches in Breachstones open is a kind of surprisingly slow. Marketing. Trials being so long and boring and OP until you actually have them done. And not rushable, you always have to wait for some mechanics. Farming Trial Master forces you to do one trial every time just to farm one boss. Farming Arbiter is by chance, you need to be lucky to find the citadels. Expedition skills points are by chance. Quality of life UI commands that are already in PoE 1 don't exist in PoE 2. Chat commands not working when they should. Items not showing up on trade side, which still happens even in PoE 1. And probably some others. With that said, again, I truly hope we will hear again. Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. And with that said, juice incoming. Bunga.